What if the impossible wasn't a miracle, but a mental equation you never learned to solve? What if everything you've been chasing has been waiting for your mind to speak the right language? Napoleon Hill discovered something most people never understand. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But here's the real question. Is your mind working for you or against you? While most people try to change the world outside, those who understand the invisible laws adjust the world within, and everything else bows. Today, you're going to learn the exact method Napoleon Hill used to reprogram the codes of consciousness and turn thoughts into results. Not spiritual theory, practical method. If you want your mind to work for you instead of against you, stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share could change the entire trajectory of your life. Your mind is an invisible workshop. Everything that exists out there started as an image, a thought, a silent impulse inside someone's consciousness. Napoleon Hill called this the creative workshop of the universe within man. What you imagine with faith, you give form. What you doubt, you destroy before you even try. Your mind isn't just an organ, it's a command center. Every thought is a request sent to the universe. Every emotion is a vibrational signature confirming delivery. That's why when you think with fear, the world returns obstacles. And when you think with faith, it returns pathways. The universe created laws, not exceptions. The law of cause and effect is one of them. What you plant in thought, you harvest in circumstance. But here's the secret most people ignore. The harvest doesn't depend on desire, but on consistency. You don't reap what you wish for, you reap what you train yourself to feel. Neuroscience calls this neural plasticity. Napoleon Hill called it autosuggestion. The idea is the same. The brain doesn't differentiate between what's real and what's repeated with enough emotion. That's why the prayer that changes lives isn't just the one that comes from your mouth, but the one repeated in a state of certainty. Reality responds to those who commit, not to those who merely wait. So before you ask, align what you think, feel, and do. Because the universe doesn't understand words, it understands frequency. Now tell me, when was the last time you decided what to think? Most people let fear drive the mind and then blame destiny for the crash. But the good news is that the steering wheel is still right there inside you. All you need is to relearn how to hold it. Napoleon Hill taught that every thought is a living seed, and like every seed, it needs three things: fertile soil, repetition, and time. The soil is faith, repetition is discipline, and time is the test of your coherence. If you understand this, you discover that luck doesn't exist. Only tuning does. The human mind is the most powerful transmitter in the universe. It sends signals in the form of beliefs and emotions, and the universe responds with equivalent circumstances. This is the true law of attraction, not the one of empty desire, but of coherent vibration. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you believe you are. When the mind says it's impossible, the body agrees and closes the doors of perception. But when you affirm with conviction, it's possible, your physiology changes, your gaze changes, and your brain starts looking for paths instead of walls. That's how the invisible begins to bend before disciplined thought. What Hill called burning desire is more than will. It's emotional focus trained until it becomes active faith. This faith isn't just spiritual, it's mental, it's practical. It's the silent certainty that the universe cooperates with those who position themselves with clarity. The scriptures confirm it. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. This isn't metaphor, it's spiritual mechanics. You become what you repeatedly feel every day. If you repeat fear, you mold yourself into scarcity. If you repeat faith, you mold yourself into abundance. That's why the secret isn't to ask for more. It's to feel better. Pray less with haste and more with presence. Think less about lack and more about purpose. The universe responds to clean intention, not to anxiety disguised as faith. Everything you need to begin is a choice. Replace "I can't" with "How can I?" This small exchange changes your brain's frequency. "How can I?" opens portals where "I can't" close doors. And if you sustain that vibration long enough, the impossible begins to yield millimeter by millimeter. Because the impossible isn't a wall, it's just a thought repeated with too much fear and too little faith. There's a formula that few people know, one that Napoleon Hill spent his entire life studying, and by the end of this video, you'll have it. But first, you need to understand why 90% of people who try mental reprogramming fail. Stay with me. Your mind is the greatest asset you possess, but if you don't train it, it becomes your worst employee. Napoleon Hill taught that if you don't program your mind, it will be programmed by fear. And fear, when it takes control, creates a factory of excuses, not results. The conscious mind is the manager. It chooses what to think. The subconscious mind is the team. It executes without questioning. If the manager gives confused orders, the team gets lost. That's why mental clarity is spiritual command. When you repeat, "Nothing ever works out for me," the mind notes it as an order. When you say, "I'm learning to prosper," it begins searching for evidence of that new truth. That's how you exchange a limiting pattern for an expansive one, with intentional language and coherent emotion. The autosuggestion taught by Hill is the art of giving precise instructions to the mind. But attention, it's not repeating empty phrases, it's feeling each word as if it were already real. Emotion is the seal of authenticity that the universe recognizes. Want a simple exercise? In the morning, look at yourself in the mirror and say in a firm voice, "Today I focus on what's essential, I act with courage, and I multiply opportunities." Don't say it mechanically. Say it like someone signing a contract with their future. The consistency of this gesture is what reprograms the mind. The brain learns through emotional repetition, not through pretty speeches. And when it learns, the universe reorganizes facts to obey the new command. That's why you shouldn't wait for motivation to act. Action comes first. The feeling comes after. The universe honors movement, responds to direction. Think about it. Stagnant faith is faith that evaporates, but faith in motion becomes results. Now tell me, what's the thought that sabotages you most? Write it on paper and right below write the healed version of that belief. Read it out loud, breathe deeply and say, "From now on, I replace fear with direction." Napoleon Hill demonstrated that success begins with mastery of the mind and ends with mastery of reactions. You don't control everything that happens, but you control the meaning you give it. And meaning is the code the universe reads to define the next chapter. When something disappoints you, you can respond with drama or with direction. Drama traps your energy in the problem. Direction channels it toward the solution. The same event can destroy you or shape you. It depends on the dialogue you create inside your head. What differentiates the spiritually mature from those who merely survive is the ability to observe without getting lost. They feel but don't drown. They fall but don't justify. They act but don't react. That's true control, not control over the world, but over yourself. And when you master your own internal state, the universe begins to recognize you as co-author of reality. Hill's faith wasn't naive, it was strategic. He knew that faith without self-control is emotion without direction, and emotion without direction is wasted energy. That's why, starting today, practice what he called disciplined self-observation. Before reacting, breathe and ask, "Does this reaction bring me closer to or farther from what I want to create?" If it distances you, stay silent. If it brings you closer, act. Spiritual maturity is exactly this, choosing your response instead of reacting to impulse. And when you learn to do this, you begin to notice that the world doesn't change when things go right, but when you stop getting lost in what went wrong. Emotional control is the foundation of mental prosperity, because only those who are at peace inside have enough energy to create greatness outside. And remember, self-control isn't repression, it's direction. It's transforming the fire of emotion into fuel for purpose. It's understanding that the universe doesn't test you, it trains you. And every time you respond with awareness, the universe whispers, "Now, yes, they're ready to receive." But here's where most people stumble. They master the thought, control the emotion, but forget the final ingredient. There's a fatal error that sabotages even those who practice daily mental discipline. And if you don't correct this error, everything you've learned so far will evaporate like morning mist. Stay with me, because what comes next separates those who dream from those who manifest. The fatal error is this: faith without emotion is noise. You can repeat affirmations 1,000 times, visualize your goals daily, and still get nothing. Why? Because the universe doesn't respond to words. It responds to the vibrational state behind them. Napoleon Hill discovered that the difference between those who manifest and those who merely wish lies in one thing: emotionalized faith. It's not enough to think it. You must feel it as if it's already real. When you say, "Abundance is coming to me," but feel doubt in your chest, the universe receives a mixed signal. The words say yes, but the frequency says no. And frequency always wins. That's why mechanical affirmations don't work. The subconscious mind doesn't process language, it processes emotion. If there's no feeling backing the thought, there's no command being sent. Hill called this the secret of emotionalized thought, the art of infusing every mental image with the sensation of achievement. Here's how it works. When you visualize your goal, don't just see the image, step into it. Feel the texture of success on your skin. Hear the sounds around you when you've achieved it. Smell the environment. Taste the victory. Engage all 5 senses in your mental rehearsal. The more sensory detail you add, the more real it becomes to your brain. And when your brain accepts it as real, your body starts acting in alignment with that reality. Neuroscience confirms what Hill taught decades ago. The brain can't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an actual one, as long as emotion is present. That's why athletes visualize their performance before competing. That's why surgeons mentally rehearse procedures. They're not daydreaming, they're programming. They're creating neural pathways that their body will follow when the moment comes. But here's the key. Visualization without action is hallucination. Hill always reinforced this. Imagining is the first rehearsal of faith, but acting is the confirmation of belief. After you visualize, execute one micro-action that honors what you saw: an email, a study session, a phone call, a workout. This gesture tells the universe, "I'm ready to cooperate with what I've asked for." Make this a daily ritual, 3 minutes in the morning and 3 at night before sleep. Imagine your ideal day unfolding with fluidity and purpose. When you wake up, see yourself already in the role of the person who lives that script. This cycle creates a field of coherence so powerful that it begins transforming your perception of time. And don't worry if it seems repetitive. Repetition engraves, and what's engraved manifests. The universe needs consistency to trust you. When the image is clear and the heart believes, the impossible becomes just an event with a scheduled date. Napoleon Hill taught that gratitude is the vibration that opens all the doors of the higher mind. It's not a pretty phrase, it's a real energetic code. Gratitude changes your mental state, and your mental state changes the frequency of the field around you. When you give thanks with awareness, you tune your brain to the energy of abundance, and everything on that frequency begins to recognize you. The opposite of gratitude isn't ingratitude, it's distraction. It's living in a rush, comparing, complaining, and never noticing how much you already have. And what isn't perceived, the universe understands as unvalued. That's why it stops sending. Gratitude is the language that tells the universe, "You can continue. I'm ready to receive more." But it must be felt, not recited. It's not enough to say thank you, you must vibrate thank you. The difference is energetic, and the universe responds to energy, not words. Hill practiced what he called mental recognition of present wealth. He taught that every thought of appreciation multiplies the field of possibilities. That's why grateful people are more creative, more serene, and more magnetic, because they're aligned with the emotion that creates, not the emotion that consumes. Try this every morning before opening your phone. Breathe deeply and mentally repeat 3 things you're grateful for. Size doesn't matter, intention does. Feel the energy expand in your chest. This practice changes the vibration of your morning, and over time changes the vibration of your life. Gratitude also dissolves anxiety. Because the anxious person lives in the future and the grateful person lives in now. The anxious mind asks, the grateful mind recognizes. And the universe responds first to those who recognize. Think about it. Would you trust more someone who's always asking, or someone who values what they already have? The universe works the same way. Hill taught that the grateful mind is like a magnet. It doesn't force, it attracts. It doesn't demand, it allows. It doesn't beg, it trusts. And that trust is the bridge between desire and manifestation. Now you understand the foundation. Disciplined thought, emotionalized faith, and grateful presence. But there's still one final piece, the method that ties it all together, the exact formula Napoleon Hill used to transform conception into belief and belief into achievement. Stay with me, because what comes next is the complete system. Napoleon Hill spent his entire life studying the minds of the most successful people on earth, and he distilled everything into one formula. He called it the principle that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But most people only hear the quote. They never learn the method. Today, that changes. Here's the complete system, the triad of realization. Step 1. Conceive with clarity. You can't hit a target you can't see. Write down your goal in precise terms, not, I want more money. That's vague. Write, I am earning $10,000 per month through my skills and service. Be specific. Give the universe coordinates, not wishes. The clearer the conception, the stronger the signal. Hill taught that a definite chief aim is the starting point of all achievement. Without it, you're a ship without a destination, blown by every wind. Step 2. Believe with emotion. This is where most people fail. They write the goal but don't feel it. Take your written goal and read it twice a day, once in the morning when you wake up, once at night before sleep. But don't just read it. Close your eyes and visualize yourself already living it. Feel the emotions of having achieved it. Feel the pride, the peace, the power. Let your body experience the victory before it happens in the physical world. This is emotionalized faith, the fusion of thought and feeling that creates quantum momentum. Step 3. Realize with action. Faith without works is dead. Every single day, take one concrete step toward your goal. It doesn't have to be huge, it has to be consistent. Send the email. Make the call. Study for 30 minutes. Practice your craft. Movement is the language the universe respects most. Hill said that the universe rewards those who show up, not those who show up when they feel like it. Discipline is doing it when you don't want to, and discipline compounds into destiny. This is the triad. Conceive with clarity, believe with emotion, realize with action. When these three align, you become unstoppable. Your mind stops being a passenger and becomes the pilot. Your emotions stop being reactive and become creative. Your actions stop being random and become intentional. And when that coherence is established, the universe has no choice but to respond. But here's what separates the dreamers from the manifestors: consistency. One day of visualization changes nothing. 30 days begins rewiring. 90 days creates transformation. Hill taught that the subconscious mind requires repetition to accept new programming. You're not trying to convince the universe. You're reprogramming yourself. And the subconscious doesn't argue, it doesn't judge. It simply accepts what's repeated with emotion and begins organizing your life around it. So here's your commitment starting today. Every morning before the chaos begins, spend 3 minutes in this practice. Read your goal. Visualize it with emotion. Declare one action you'll take that day. Every night before sleep, repeat the process. Review your progress. Adjust if needed, but never skip. Because skipping breaks the signal and the universe interprets silence as withdrawal. Napoleon Hill said that the mind is a broadcasting station of thought energy. You're always transmitting. The question is, what frequency are you on? Fear, doubt, and scarcity are low frequencies. Faith, purpose, and action are high frequencies. And the universe mirrors back whatever you consistently broadcast. If your thoughts are chaotic, your results will be chaotic. If your thoughts are disciplined, your results will be inevitable. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are the architect of your reality. Every thought is a blueprint. Every emotion is a command. Every action is a brick. And day by day, thought by thought, you're either building your dream or your prison. The choice has always been yours. Hill proved that ordinary people with extraordinary mental discipline can achieve what geniuses with scattered minds cannot. It's not about talent, it's about training. It's not about luck, it's about alignment. The mind that works for you is the one that's been taught to obey purpose. It doesn't get distracted by what's missing. It cooperates with what already exists. It doesn't doubt, it adjusts. It doesn't chase the miracle, it becomes the miracle in motion. And that's what the universe recognizes. Coherence. Coherence between what you believe, speak, and do. Life doesn't respond to anxiety. It responds to clarity. And the universe doesn't bless improvisation. It honors preparation. So make a pact with the next sunrise. Wake up and declare in a firm voice, "My mind is my ally. My faith is my fuel. My thoughts work for the universe, and the universe works through me." Repeat until you feel your body align with the words. Feel your breath enter as a reminder that the impossible is just the name we give to what we haven't trained enough yet. Every day you rise and act with purpose, the universe rewrites probabilities in your favor. Every time you conquer fear with presence, heaven notes, they're ready. And when consistency becomes your lifestyle, prosperity becomes inevitable. Now you know the formula. Conceive with clarity, believe with emotion, realize with action. Napoleon Hill spent his life proving that the trained mind knows no impossibles. The universe is waiting for your first conscious command. Before you leave this video, make the gesture that seals this transformation. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. And comment below, "My mind works for me." Because when you declare with intention, the universe responds with precision. The mind is the key, belief is the portal, and action is the password. Until the next chapter of your mental awakening, breathe deep. Now it's your turn to act.